Are we back in Yarnum already? Awesome! As my favorite game in the series, I find it unfortunate that Bloodborne feels like it's lacking in challenge run material that hasn't already been farmed out by the various folks in this category on YouTube already. So, what's the challenge today?
No challenge. We are mowing.
Mowing?
Look at this place. It hasn't been tended in years. The gardeners have sure been slacking on their job. So naturally, it falls to me to clean the town up.
How's that going?
Smashing!
Howdy, I'm Pragazai, and welcome to DevBox, where we go on random tangents these days, I guess. Anyway, today we're diving into Bloodborne's gameplay with a challenge run, because I'm still pretending that this is a half challenge, half video essay channel. Why? Because I suck at SEO, apparently. So thanks for those of you who are here anyway. Pretty awesome. As for the run, however, we're going to see how far we can get while using the whirligig saw. But with a twist. We're mowing the lawn, and that is it. Yep, this is essentially one of those proto-Ash of War runs from before the days that the L2 inputs were even referred to as either Ashes of War or weapon arts. I guess in this case it would be considered the trick attack, since it's the attack that comes from using a trick weapon's transformation mode. Now, to start, we need to get our weapon, which is all the way in the DLC. That means we have to get past Vicar Amelia in order to even get access to the whirligig saw. This in turn gives us a choice for one of the 3 bosses that are blocking our progress, because to get to Amelia, we need to kill either Bloodstarved Beast or Cleric Beast. Either will work, although Cleric Beast comes with the deficit of also needing to farm up 10k Blood Echoes in order to open the gate towards Amelia. On the other hand, Bloodstarved Beast is way harder than Cleric Beast, which will make the first boss we fight with the whirligig saw a more difficult challenge. So naturally... And we have our weapon! Don't worry, I'll be testing the weapon against those 3 later, but that will have to wait until New Game Plus. For now, we've got our Lawnmower all ready. Let's see how it works against Bloodstarved Beast. The answer is, surprisingly well. Of course, I am making decent use of pungent blood cocktails for the majority of the fight, but once we've made it into Phase 3, where she's the most aggressive and the ambient poison is almost unavoidable, she still barely touches me. And yes, I said almost, for the no-hitters in the audience. I know it can technically be avoided with the right setup, but I'm not using Charge R2s and Viscerals. We're mowing the lawn here. With that boss out of the way, let's head somewhere a little less dangerous. Hemwick Charnel Lane. Actually, the lane and path to the witch's abode is plenty dangerous. Even getting to the first lamp is a pain, since these doggos don't want to let me through. Then there's these brick assholes. Turns out, a relatively slow attack with no ability to parry or visceral makes them fairly deadly, especially when they don't get staggered by the lawn mowing action. Hit and run strats work wonders though. As for the witches themselves, I think this is the From Software version of those soap cutting videos on TikTok. So fucking satisfying. Wanna know what's not satisfying? Dying to a stupid snatcher. And now where the hell am I? Some type of Forerunner jail? And then there's this asshole. Yeah, so a few things to note for Dark Beast Parl here. One is that my weapon is already around +5, so the damage should ideally be there for the DPS test. Kinda. Also, my first attempt got this close, so I will not apologize for the several hours that I spent beating my head against this wall moving forward. Especially considering that some of the later attempts went this poorly. Anyway, killing him gets us some good stuff, so I'm committed to this. The only problem is honestly very similar to what I ran into for the claw run. See, Parl is a huge target, but most of his hurt box is way up above me, so my low striking attack can't hit. We're mowing lawns here, not trimming the hedges. So I've only got these quick moving, spindly legs to target here. and his head if I can break a limb and get him on the ground. Although it's usually best to stick to where you are when he falls and keep grinding away there. With that in mind, and some hit and run tactics, Parl does eventually go down, and we get to have a meeting with Jura that's much more amicable. This gives us a nice set of badges, one of which will supply us with bolt paper for the rest of the run, and the other will be completely unused, I guess. And no, we're not killing Jura. His clothes are nice, but we have more gentlemanly attire to commit to this evening. With Parl down, we're back to the main path of the game, heading for the Shadows of Yharnam. The forest on that way is of little concern, since we can pretty much run all the way through. On the way, we also open up the door to Yosefka's clinic and send the beggar there, but that's all side stuff and we won't be focusing too much on that until we've killed Rom. Because, I'm not looking forward to fighting fake Yosefka. NPCs have been trouble with the Lawnmower so far. So, the Knot School. These three are surprisingly tricky. For some reason I have it in my head that these three are some super easy fight that I always beast through with no issue. But then I actually fight them, and they bully the shit out of me. Instead, I'll play Ring Around the Gravestone and get the three separated for long enough that I can mow each one down individually. Fun fact, the startup of the mow attack also works for the cheese to kill the third shadow without letting her summon the snakes too many times. Awesome, Shadow's down. As well as Rom? Already? How nice. Nothing between those two fights of note at all. Seriously, how many times am I going to do the don't look while I die joke? Well, at least this one more time. Anyway, Bergenworth for real isn't exactly long. Walk through here, up here, die to the choir NPC because NPCs are impossible with the fucking lawnmower. Hit and run Willem for a rune I will never use. Then drop into the Rom fight. As for Rom herself, patience is key here. First, we gotta trim these pesky weeds she keeps summoning all around the arena. Look at this one, planting itself right in front of me. Gonna give that a little whacking, and there we go. Nice and clean. Time for some exterminating. Oh shit, she's gone. Alright, rinse, repeat, dodge magic, and Rom is dead. Never even got close. Next up is, listen, this is as good of a time as any to mention that I'm not really killing everything, or most of anything on my way from boss to boss. So level design will not be getting a highlight today. The level design of Bloodborne is amazing, but I'm rushing through Yargul, only stopping by real quick to grab the Upper Cathedral Ward key for later. It's otherwise uneventful though. Not even a lot of funny deaths. I'm also +8 from all of the bloodstone chunks I found on the way. The +9 and 10 will be coming soon, don't you worry. For now though, we've got a date with the One Reborn. I would like to leave, and he can pay for dinner. Or maybe his mother's can. Mama's reborn? Do you want to split the check, or no? Then get lawnmowered. I do the same for the main boss, but his passive goo summoning absolutely destroys me. But doesn't kill me. From there though, I never really recover the pace. Usually you can combo breaking the legs to keep punishing the main body riding on top. Kind of like Parl, but he was not willing to cooperate. Instead, I go for the tried and true spam heal and trade hits until the big thing dies method. The constant damage from holding the lawnmower down does well to break him occasionally and deals enough damage to make tanking his hits a viable strat. However, as we now open up the final area of the game, I want to do a little cleanup in order to grab the last few bloodstone chunks I need to hit +9. So, let's head to Canehurst. It's not too difficult at this point. The ghost ladies don't really stand much of a chance against the lawnmower. The ones I actually wind up fighting anyway. Then there's Logarius. He might be the top candidate for the hardest boss of this run, even tougher than Parl. Something about his jumping attacks keep catching me, and all of his dodges so perfectly put him right out of consistent lawn mowing range. I can get the initial hit, but not much beyond that. Then there's this bullshit. Sure, sink your blade into the ground so I can't hit it. That's super fair. The fight that actually gets the kill doesn't even really feel like my best performance either. Considering how easily he went down to the claws, I was hoping it would be a repeat of that, but not this time. The lawnmower attack is just a little too slow to keep any kind of meaningful pressure on him. Still, consistent hit and runs and patience finally sees the old man dead. which now completes my pre-DLC outfit. The Night King, they see me mowing. At your service. Now we head into the Nightmare, where I get my revenge for the Claw Run. Come here, you Academy bastards. Get mowed! Boy, that really doesn't sound as epic out loud as I hoped it would. They're dead, though, and we're off to the Nightmare Frontier. Would you believe that the run past everything strat is still coming in clutch? Because it is absolutely still working. And now for... Mikolash. Fuck. I've been dreading this. The only NPC I managed to kill up until this point was Henrik, and Eileen did basically 90% of the work there. I was more of a cheerleader. But Mikolash? No such help here. Alright, buckle up and bully him into a corner? Wow. I can't believe that worked. Twice. Wait, can that be the trick to killing NPCs from here on out? Canehurst Crow? Yep. Brador? Yep. Church Pit Guy? Yep. Human Amelian Friend? Yep. Wait, I think I've gotten somewhat out of order. No bother, we'll get there. First, let's rewind to Murgo's Wet Nurse. This one isn't exactly a difficulty issue, but more of a greed and hitbox issue. For some reason, while I can keep close to her and keep the lawnmower running, her hurt box is a bit tighter than it might initially appear. So even though it feels like I should be chopping her up, I appear to be missing quite a lot. Or maybe she learned a lesson from this townsperson earlier. The greatest weakness to the lawnmower is to simply walk backwards at a light speed. Wet Nurse has truly been watching over us all this time, hasn't she? Well, amazing as her dodge strat might be, it's no match for the old hit and run. Also, her extremely slow attacks have no hope of even touching me. A second time. They have no hope of touching me a second time. So now she's dead. That's the ending percent, and I guess that answers the question about beating the game while only lawn mowing. However, there are still some bosses to clean up before we go for the win here. Let's start by going through the other Nightmare Frontier and fighting Amygdala. Fighting it in a regular new game cycle this time, ol' Amy over here isn't too difficult. The low attack range on the lawnmower means that I can't go for headshots, but I can hit the hands in the first two phases. Third phase though? Yeah, that's kinda problematic. Maybe I can go for the legs instead? Oh, okay, no. Yeah, definitely no. Alright, these hands work. Ooh, and some choice headshots after the slam. Altogether, that's enough to get the win. Next up is Upper Cathedral Ward. And look, for once I'll actually kill all the enemies. Goodness, this is satisfying. Gonna clip these puppers' coats. Even the brain suckers can't handle the power of the lawnmower. Seriously, there is nothing better than grinding these dudes down while holding L2. I feel like my phrasing could have been better there. As for the bosses of the area, Celestial Emissary doesn't kill me, but boy does the group of gangly assholes come close. The lock-on trick works fine to find the real boss, since that one won't have a health bar. However, the numbers are a bit of a problem. They also succumb to the power of the mower, but only a few of them at a time. If they gang up on me, things quickly fall out of my favor. So I've got to keep on alert way more than I'm used to here. Not quite the breezy fight I was hoping for, especially since the main emissary doesn't really flinch from the consistent hit. Oh, and hold a note for all this ganking until later. It'll come up again in the DLC. With the emissary down, though, we get to move on to Ebritus, or Ebriitis, Daughter of the Cosmos. Can I say, it kinda sucks that the boss doesn't retain any of the damage you do before her health bar appears. Considering that players have to instigate the fight in the first place, it would at least be nice for her to take some of that damage for real. It hardly matters though. Not in like an I kill her in one shot way. No, she kills me a couple times actually. Sometimes because of my own greed, and other times because of my impatience. Now, you might be thinking, hey, those are the same thing. And I would like to rebuttal, shut up. She's dead. Are you happy? She's dead and you did nothing to save her. How's your critique feel now? Straw man with words I've placed in your mouth? Moving on! Wait, there's nowhere to move on from now. That's all the bosses in the base game. Guess it's DLC time. Ugh, that means I've got to face off against Ludwig. I hate that this dude is the first boss of the DLC. Or is any boss in the DLC. or holds my Moonlight Greatsword hostage. Whatever, nothing I can do about it besides prepare myself for the next 6 hours of my life beating my head against this wall. He's dead. On my first try? While lawnmowering? Is this weapon broken or something? There's no way this attack can be that strong. Well, I mean, we've already seen what it does for the NPCs in this area, so let's go ahead and keep checking that run through everything and never fight strat. Still working? Yep. Still, well, hey guys, you're kinda in the doorway. You know what? Don't move. I'll go around. Oh, right, the guy's behind me. I'm sure this will turn out fine. Not fine. Okay. Let's try that again, but a little more tactful. Mow, mow, mow. Kill, kill, kill. All right, we're good. We got this. Look at that. I've even got another NPC to check the strat against. To break the NPC fights down, the key here is to make sure to isolate them in a narrow space, since they tend to dodge to the sides. As long as you can keep the lawnmower on them without restarting the attack, it'll eventually catch them and grind them into a stagger loop. These fights aren't free, mind, but certainly easier once they aren't dodging every single attack. With the research all cleared, it's time to kill the living failures. Remember the issue I was running into with the Celestial Emissary and getting ganked? Yeah, it's much worse now. Sure, they don't kill me, but it definitely gets close. Especially when they come whack me from behind while I'm focused on one at a time. Saving grace here is that I keep the lawnmower going for the entire duration of my stamina bar. Then, that is enough to completely melt one of the failures. So, if I can separate them one-on-one and spin around them while they try to melee me, it's an easy win. Speaking of an easy win... You know, I was actually excited for this fight. Maria is probably my favorite From Software boss of all time. And I bullied her. Bullied the shit out of her. Like, I definitely thought that her increased poise in Phase 3 would cause problems. But apparently, the lawnmower can burst through that and keep her stuck in place indefinitely. GG easy, try again next time. Well, next time has arrived. It's Lawrence. We're taking a detour from Orphan. Always better for the video to save him for last. Works better thematically, you know. Anyway, Lawrence. This is easily the hardest fight so far. Not really because of the lawn mowing specifically. Nope. That's all Lawrence, with his lingering hitboxes and those fire follow-ups that completely rework the openings normally available when fighting Cleric Beast. I'm not sure if he's really that hard, or if the problem is my own brain's inability to separate this version from the original. Either way, this is about as tilted as I get throughout this entire endeavor, throwing a handful of decent attempts for no more reason than my own impatience causing me to greed for a quick kill. The final fight is anything but quick, but I get the kill all the same. Okay, now we get to move on to Orphan of Kos. Well, I know I said Lawrence was the hardest fight so far, like a minute ago, but yeah, Orphan steps that difficulty up again. Not only is he fast enough to make a consistent lawn mowing basically impossible, but he's also strong and has a decent amount of health that I need to chew through. Aggression is the name of the game here. I can't allow Orphan to get off too many hits, or afford to keep dragging the fight out. So I need to stay right in Orphan's face at all times, ready to keep the pressure on and dish out the little chip damage I'm able to between his attacks. Then Phase 2 starts. Now, normally Phase 2 is a massive wall for him, mostly because of his projectiles. The smashes can be dodged, or you can turn around and run away from the combo entirely. However, the real issue is the ranged attacks. I already suck at dodging the fetus throw in Phase 1, so when he adds half a dozen extra projectiles to the same attack, I don't stand a chance. Especially for the flyover carpet bomb. This means that in Phase 2, sticking close is even more important, since Orphan only seems to throw out these ranged attacks when he manages to give himself some distance. Yeah, that's the advice here. face your fear and give that orphan a hug. It's what he really needs in this time of loss. There you go, child. No more nightmares for you. Find only peace in the clear sky. Alright, time to finish this for good. Although, I gotta say, that orphan fight really did a number on me. Seriously, he was easily the hardest fight in this whole challenge. Like, my body is still recovering from the adrenaline drain. I need a drink. Ooh, some straws. Now all I need is a tall glass of... Wait, why am I smashing those over my head? Whatever, moving on. Gehrman, I'm ready to leave.
Dear, oh dear. What was it? The hunt? The blood? Or the horrible dream?
Huh?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It always comes down to the hunter's helper to clean up after these sorts of messes. Tonight, Gehrman joins the hunt.
Oh, not this shit again. Fine, come here, old man. This flower garden is far too beautiful to tolerate an old weed like yourself. Similar to Maria, Gehrman really struggles against the lawnmower's constant staggering, especially if you can push him into a corner and cut off his dodges. At least that's the case for the first two phases, when his poise is only moderately high. As for the final phase, Gehrman becomes completely immune to being staggered. No matter how aggressive I was, he simply couldn't get stun locked anymore. So to counter that, my strategy was twofold. First is to fall back on the old hit and run tactic, especially on hitting with the initial strike of the lawnmower attack from a full sprint. The bread and butter of the run, honestly. Second was to go buck wild on the transition into phase 3. Seriously, he stands there long enough for me to get a full burn on the lawnmower before exploding and nearly killing me in the phase shift alone. Yeah, that is a high-risk, high-reward situation there. Take that advice at your own risk. Still, that initial burst helped bring him down fast enough that I didn't have to deal with the final phase for too long. Welp, with Gehrman gone, we've got, oh right, that. Anyway, moon presence couldn't possibly be a problem, right? Right? Okay, the moon presence isn't actually an issue, although I did die once because I didn't notice that I had stepped into the numbing mist stuff. However, that dreadful L aside, the boss doesn't really stand a chance against the lawnmower. I mean, look at this. Not even a challenge. Little more than a slip-up, because I suck at these games. Well, why do I challenge run them anyway? Well, hardly the time to actually question it now, because, you know, the run is over. Some final thoughts as I let the New Game Plus footage of me killing Cleric Beast, Gascoigne, and Amelia play. So, it's no question that the Whirligig Saw is an incredible weapon, capable of some pretty insane amounts of damage, and winning double points for Rule of Cool. But I honestly expected using only the weapon's L2 would be more of a challenge. It certainly came with some growing pains, don't get me wrong, most notably being the fact that my old method of attack, dodge, attack simply didn't work for an attack this slow. Also, holding the button is a complete gamble, either melting enemies as they are stagger locked completely into place, or leaving me completely open for counter or instability damage. Also, a complete lack of visceral attacks just reduces my possible damage output entirely. So, difficult or not, this is one I might suggest, especially for anyone looking to break up the monotony of replaying Bloodborne with the same old weapons. Of course, this is only the part 1 of this run. While the Whirligig Saw only exists in Yharnam, a spiritual successor of sorts has arrived elsewhere in the From Software catalog. But hey, that's a story for another time. See you soon.